Partway through Union Cross, we're introduced to a new major villain. Primordial beings of darkness, eventually referred to as true darkness. Their goal is simple: infect the world by spreading through emotional turmoil. But the steps and counter-steps taken for this goal become increasingly complicated. So in this video, we're covering how darkness gave up their physical bodies, unintentionally losing their will. And to replenish this will, they try possessing other people's bodies. How the Master takes advantage of this by trapping them within the Lost Masters. And we'll be tracking where each of these 13 beings end up by Union Cross's end. We never see the Keyblade in Key, possibly because it's already been long destroyed by this point in time. Master Xehanort says that the Keyblade War began, leading to the shattering of the Keyblade into 20 pieces. The Master of Masters tells Luxu that the Keyblade War began when he was a boy, and later quotes a passage about 7 lights and 13 darknesses, resembling the shattering of the Keyblade. So it's possible the Keyblade shattered when the Master was a child, and the 13 beings of true darkness derived from the pieces of the Keyblade and developed their own will. This would mean the speech Yen Sid gave to Sora and Riku is now retconned, as he described only one Keyblade War, a mix between the one in Key, the same one Kairi's grandmother tells, and the other from the Master's childhood. Now, the Master explains the Keyblade War isn't a single battle, but a genuine war lasting over a long period of time. From statements told by the Master and Luxu in these cutscenes, this is what I understand to be the order of events, but I could be wrong here. I definitely encourage discussion if you have your own interpretation. Era 1. When the Master was a child, the 13 true darknesses were humanoids with their own individual minds and fought physically. Era 2, and this is all relatively concurrent. To defeat light, they shed their bodies and instead fought with emotional manipulation, perhaps like how they did with the Union leaders. The Master said this claimed the lives of his friends. During or soon after, the 13 formless beings multiplied, and their individual minds began to merge with each other, like a collective hive mind. I don't think they physically combined into one single being. I think that's how they spread, yet became whole at the same time. Still bodiless themselves, the beings began to spawn the first pureblood Heartless. Era 3. Sensing their collective will fading, the beings return to being individually minded again so that they can start possessing people's bodies. To me, darkness implies its will as the hive mind is only recently fading, and that it needs Ventus to be individual and willful. So Phase 3 might be a very new and fresh phase by the time of Union Cross, like how the Master says, which brings us to now. It seems to me each era or phase is a new attempt at defeating light. First, fight physically as individuals. Not working? Shed the body, fight emotionally as a hive mind. Works for a bit, but their will weakens, so they need other people's bodies to replenish it since they gave up theirs. I theorized earlier that the original 13 beings from Era 1 came from the Keyblade. But if the 13 truly multiplied, we don't know why there's only 13 again in Union Cross, and if those are the same exact 13 from the first era. I've read many people saying they have a hard time keeping track of all the different darknesses, so let's go over each one. Darknesses 1, 2, 3, and 4 possess Ira, Envy, Gula, and Alced. The Master tells Luxu, of those 13 darknesses, we'll trap the most powerful 7 inside the hearts of each of us. We'll all go our separate ways and destroy the darkness wherever we end up. That's the true purpose of the Keyblade War. Here, I interpret the Master to be talking about the entire Keyblade War, not Key's single battle alone. The foretellers gather together in Key's battle. They don't separate. And they're implied to still be possessed in Kingdom Hearts 3. So it could be that in Key's battle, the foretellers get possessed, and after Kingdom Hearts 3 is when they all go their separate ways. People theorize the foretellers got possessed in town days before the big battle, since even besides Ava, who we'll get to next, Alced and Ira were unusually bitter after chronologically just making up in back cover. But I believe Key's battle was vital to creating emotion strong enough to lure in darkness, like what player remembers. Plus, when darkness takes control of Ventus, it overwhelms his entire consciousness, but when dormant, never affects his attitude. So I don't believe the foretellers were bitter in town from being possessed already, especially if their hearts are trained to be resilient enough to withstand darkness if it takes over their hearts. Darkness 5 possessed Ava. Ava is different though. I think whatever Luxu told her made her angry enough to clash with him, thus lure in darkness to possess her. Therefore, I believe it's really Ava possessed who strikes down Strelitzia. If so, it's days before Key's big battle. However, if the Master really trained the foretellers to be resilient enough to withstand darkness, then Ava either failed in her training to withstand it, or deliberately used darkness's power to commit this act. Either way, she seems to have complete control later in Union Cross, if she's truly Brain's imposter, a theory we'll dive into again in another video. Some people think darkness shapeshifted as Ava, but it's stated repeatedly that darkness gave up their forms and that they steal bodies and hide within people. Shape-shifting misses the fundamental point that Union Cross emphasizes, that right now, true darkness is shapeless. It's literally smoke. Brain compares it to a child's drawing. Darkness says it's gone unnoticed, not because it's disguising as other characters, but because its appearance is easy to overlook. The Master does say darkness is constantly changing shape, but he continues immediately with them hiding inside humans again. So I don't interpret the former to mean literal shape-shifting, but rather that he's referencing the 3 eras from earlier, darkness constantly adapting against light. That's why he says it's the reason the war never ended. So, I believe the Master plotted for the foretellers to get possessed during the heat of battle, except for Ava, who seems to have gotten possessed during or after her fight with Luxu. Darkness 6 allegedly possessed the Master of Masters. I consider the chance Luxu and the Master never got possessed, since they wear the black coats that protect themselves from darkness. But let's just assume they were possessed. The Master disappeared before Ki even starts, so he may have gotten possessed by darkness on the hill after this flashback conversation with them. The Master saying he lost his allies from darkness attacking their hearts, similar to the Union leaders, to me implies his allies either hurt each other or hurt themselves. And since the Master gets visibly angry both times he mentions this, his heart may already be ripe with emotions strong enough to lure in darkness. Darkness 7 supposedly possessed Luxu. Since Luxu was on the sidelines for so much of Ki and Union Cross's story, he could have gotten possessed at the Keyblade Graveyard after the battle, or earlier after his fight with Ava. But I also think it's possible this 7th Darkness instead possessed Player during the war, which I've said was meant to create intense emotions to lure in darkness. We are so traumatized by the war that Chirithy has to eat our memories and dreams. So Player experiencing strong emotions and surviving the war leads me to believe it's possible we got possessed instead of Luxu. I'll expand upon this in a future video. So the first 7 darknesses allegedly possessed the Lost Masters, but we don't have any confirmation besides maybe Ava. Darknesses 8, 9, 10, and 11 are trapped in the game central station. After the war, the 6 darknesses left over found themselves in the data world. They keep saying they'll use this system to reach other worlds, but I find it hard to believe they were content only infecting data worlds. Did they assume portals led to the outside world? Because these 4 didn't care to use the lifeboat, their only confirmed method to leave the data. Either way, these 4 waited until the data world deteriorated. Then, they got fooled by Player and locked within the corridor that leads to Wreck-It Ralph's world. Their current status is unknown. Darkness 12 possessed Ventus. We covered in the video about Data Daybreak Town that the Dandelions were probably always in the data worlds after the war. This is further supported by the last 6 darknesses also ending up in the data world, including the one with Ventus. Otherwise, the 2 would be temporarily separated between inside and outside the data world, which I doubt. That said, this darkness can leave Ven's body until Ven traps it himself. Looks like there's a difference between being possessed or controlled by darkness and trapping darkness to prevent escape or agency. Darkness says that to regain individuality, they need willpower, and that Ventus is able to grant both. Vanitas is an individual with his own will, but he's not a flawless success, since he has a tangible body vulnerable to combat. Remember, in Era 2, Darkness had the upper hand as intangible smoke until they started losing their will. I think this is why they call Player a brittle human vessel, and encourages the darkness we pretend to be to discard our body. They don't want to possess, they need to, in order to replenish themselves and maintain the upper hand. But I'm having a hard time narrowing in on why Ventus is singled out to have this power. Maybe Ven has a strong enough heart to do this, as the Master implies darkness yearns for any strong heart. But I assume Player and the Union leaders all have strong hearts too. But darkness wants nothing to do with them. Maybe Ven's heart was always pure light, therefore lacking any sort of personal darkness that would mix with true darkness and keep it from being authentically individual. But that's counterintuitive to what Ventus is. Trust me, I know. So, suggested to me after my last video, maybe Ven had a regular heart with both light and dark. When possessed, darkness absorbed Ven's darkness to replenish itself, leaving Ven pure light. But why couldn't darkness do that to everyone else too? Plus, in Dark Road, Xehanort disputes Ven's heart being split into light and dark. So other possible reasons Ven might have this ability are he's a light from the Keyblade, adding on to the theory of darkness's origins. This is a power empaths like Sora or Xehanort have. This is related to the mysterious 7 crowns mentioned by the Master. None of these are a beautiful, perfect answer to me. Darkness says it's written in the Book of Prophecies that Ven harbors darkness. So it might be that Ven didn't have any special power, but darkness simply saw whatever was written in the Book of Prophecies as a guarantee of success, like how Maleficent would successfully time travel to the future. Speaking of, Darkness 13 is the one with Maleficent. When we first meet this darkness at Data Enchanted Dominion, it seems to have plenty of vital knowledge. It's what led me to believe it was Ava in disguise years ago. But now I realize it mainly just knows things involving Maleficent. For example, it knew the Master predicted Maleficent would time travel and therefore abstain from projecting her world before the war. But it does not know the Master's plan to trap the darknesses within the Lost Master's hearts. Luxu also teases Darkness for not reading the Book of Prophecies more, as this darkness seems to only know that Maleficent will exist in the future and about Riku and Xehanort's interactions with her. I theorize Darkness wanted to learn more about Maleficent to better guide her to being a waypoint for Ventus, so he could time travel to the future. I assume to this scene in Birth by Sleep. This darkness seems to have been taken in by Luxu. Ventus clashing with his darkness implicitly led him to containing it within again. So you'd think Luxu finding the darkness that was with Maleficent would lead to him containing that darkness. If the 7th darkness we discussed earlier did not possess Player after all, and instead possessed Luxu, then that would mean Luxu contains 2 different darknesses by Union Cross's end. I personally find this unlikely, which further encourages me to believe that Player got possessed during the war. If for whatever reason Luxu did not take in the darkness that was with Maleficent, then we don't know what happened to it other than it successfully escaped the data world. So, of the final 6 darknesses, 4 were last seen trapped in Data, and 2 are probably trapped within Ventus and Luxu. So let's compare what we've gone over so far to other characters' counts of where these darknesses end up. Odin and Xehanort's accounts overall support what we've covered. Only they say the final 2 were destroyed when the world collapsed, which I don't understand if this legend originates from Ephemer or Brain. Darkness tells them it can't be destroyed in battle, and even Laurium wonders if Ven got possessed again. So did they not piece that together? Xehanort did. Another tiny thing about this legend is that if Luxu took in only this final darkness and not one from Key, then technically these 2 are switched in the legend's associated groups. I believe this is the game's attempt to simplify things, since either way, every lost master got possessed. We'll explore what this implies for this darkness in another video. The Master's account also confirms that 7 possess the Lost Masters, these two still switched, but warns that supposedly 5 darknesses will target the Union leaders. I guess they do feed upon their emotional turmoil, but they're never all possessed. At least not in Union Cross. If the Master is referring to post-Kingdom Hearts 3 when it comes to the Lost Masters, he might also for the Union leaders, save for Brain or Ephemer, who never make it that far. Either way, none of the other Union leaders get possessed in Union Cross. And as for the final one trapped in this world, again, I really don't think it's the one Luxu fights like you would assume. I believe that one is included in the 7 the Lost Masters taken. So I believe the only other one left over is this mysterious one, which, again, we'll explore another time. In this video, we learned that the true darknesses possibly originate from the Keyblade, how they try again and again to fight the side of light with different methods, including shedding their bodies. Now formless, they possess others like the Lost Masters, Ventus, and possibly our player. But the rest mysteriously got trapped in data, their fates unknown. In future exposition videos, we're going to further discuss our player's connection to darkness, as well as Strelitzia's death with Ava and Ven. There are a lot of reasons why these beings of darkness are confusing. How numerous they are, how characters' accounts of their numbers differ from what we see, and how both Luxu and the Master each only give partial expositions about them. Hopefully, I've helped at least a little in understanding their history and fate.